what we heard off to the left of this nature trail that we were on today was a very loud knock into a tree. We've just arrived at Salt Fork State Park, so we're pretty excited. We're on a road trip and the air conditioning is really loud. And today we spent ages trying to work out what sort of fuel to put in the car, and then we drove from Grove City to Salt Fork. I've been uploading some videos all about Bigfoot using the BFRO data, and in one of my videos I asked about where to look for Bigfoot, particularly around Ohio or Pennsylvania, and somebody came back, commented on the video that we should go to Salt Fork State Park. So I made another video that focused on the BFRO data in Salt Fork, and somebody commented on that with loads of great information about what we should do here, particularly that we should go down to the lake at night and listen for howls. There is lots of Bigfoot type memorabilia that we've seen already, and in fact a week on Saturday there's a Bigfoot walk. We're not going to be here for that, but that's happening. And you know, the plan is that over the next 4 days we're going to walk the woods, we're going to get some footage, and we're going to make a Bigfoot video. And it's highly, you know, obviously you have to accept it's very unlikely that Bigfoot himself is going to be in the video, but just really excited to have come over from the UK to film in a Bigfoot hotspot. Some really exciting times. I'll just let you film ahead.
I think you're a bit low on juice.
On the battery?
Mm-hmm.
Just have a look in here, it's unbelievable. The first time I looked in here I had my sunglasses on and it just looked so dark. The trees are so dense, it's like you've only ever seen places like this in your dreams. Look at it.
Oh my god.
You could so get lost in there, couldn't you? But there's actually somewhere to sit. There's a tree here that's slightly burnt, isn't it? It's sort of black. And I thought that was, thought that could be him, you know. But this is just amazing, isn't it? But you do see things. You see shadows moving in the trees. It's unbelievable. This is definitely the kind of place that he would live, isn't it? She. I want to do a video for every day that we're in Salt Fork. I want to do a video diary. I'll get my gloves out of the way there. So sorry for the shaky camera. We're just sat in the car. We're staying in the lodge at Salt Fork State Park. There's a whole load of trucks going past right now. We've driven out to what we were heading up towards Hosak's cave. We haven't found it tonight, so we're going to go back home and we're going to go back to the lodge and check the map. The reason that we wanted to go to Hosak's cave is because it was the site, the location of a sighting last year. I think it was something like February 2017, which we were talking to a nice lady behind the bar last night, and she described that as the last sighting. And it was really interesting because if you look on the BFRO database, that is also the last sighting that's recorded on there. So that may well be the last sighting in Salt Fork State Park. But of course, you know, we don't know. There could have been 10 after that, and there are people who didn't report it to the BFRO or tell anybody at the park, at the lodge. So where are we now? We're parked up. If you come out of the lodge and you head east until you get to the road that sort of runs north-south through the park, and then you head north, then you're heading up towards Hosak's cave, and there's a bridge over the lake, and we're just south of that bridge. We found somewhere to pull in. I'm pointing my camera at the woods, hopefully, but you know, I'm not expecting that, you know, randomly we'll just get a Bigfoot sighting now. It's just been an interesting day, really, because you know, you realise that if we were to see something now, it would almost be too easy. Do you know what I mean? And definitely, you know, the feeling is that, yeah, people do see Bigfoot here, but it's like once every couple of years by the sound of it. There was another story, but it dated back a few years, that was on a ridge. There's a ridge in this park called Bigfoot Ridge. Today we did a walk. Well, Marie filmed me walking into a wood, and that wood is at the start of two trails. We did one that's like a loop where you just go through a very small wood, and it's about a mile round. But there's another one that I think might be a bit bigger, and from what the lady in the bar was saying, it's steeper. That one, Morgan's Knob, there was a sighting there, and I think it was last year. And my God, we ordered a pizza, and we thought, you know, between the two of us we'd be able to eat it, and we couldn't. And we had tots with it as well. And my expectations are, you know, we're not going to see the big guy. We'd be incredibly lucky to see him. I do have a feeling that he's here. We drove. Once we got off the interstate, we drove for probably 50 miles, and it was nothing but woods, forests, villages. You know, this land is vast, and there could easily be something out there, and people only come into contact with it very occasionally. There really could be something out there. It's day 2 in Salt Fork State Park. Today we're really starting to try to tick off the list some of the Bigfoot sightings that are on the BFRO, and anything that, you know, we can find anecdotally, locally. The list of sightings that we're working through now, the first one that comes to mind is Bigfoot Ridge, which isn't a specific sighting, but, you know, it's the name of a ridge, so, you know, that sort of indicates that a number of people have probably seen Bigfoot on that ridge. There's Bigfoot Ridge, there's Hosak's cave. Now, Hosak's cave, that sighting that's on the BFRO database, was a sighting by somebody who works at Salt Fork Lodge. And the one thing that crosses my mind is, perhaps we can meet that person. Okay, Marie's just pointed to a snake in the water and my bag just dropped on the ground. That's a snake, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, a snake. Snake just swam past in the lake. So so that's a thing. The camera wasn't pointing to that bit, but you know, hopefully people will trust us. We're not going to go saying things like Bigfoot just walked past, but we didn't point the camera at it. So where were we? Bigfoot Ridge, Hosak's Cave, somebody who worked at Salt Fork Lodge. Maybe we can meet that person. Morgan's Knob. So we're gonna walk the Morgan's Knob trail and try and get that on. Yeah, try and film that. But where we are now is the Sugar Tree Marina. So I'm going to shut up, and obviously you can see the trees. It's just forest everywhere, and it's beautiful. I think that's the first time we've ever seen a snake. Have you ever seen one? I've never seen one.
No, I don't think I have. That's cool.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
I must admit, I got lost there. I actually got lost.
Oh God, because I just assumed that you were purposefully coming back to Morgan's Knob there, but no.
No, I'm the one who was confused. Just wanted to record a quick update. So this is the second day still, just after we saw the snake. We drove up to the campsite, to the main camp, and we met John Hickenbottom. I think it was John Hickenbottom. John was behind the counter in the campsite shop, and he was with a female colleague. We just had a really good chat with them. We bought some insect repellent because yesterday I had a tick on my t-shirt, and John gave us his sort of perspective on the whole thing. They have Bigfoot conferences here, so they have them at the lodge and they have them at the camp, and I expect they have them at other places as well. So, but some of the facts that he gave us were really interesting. The whole kind of Bigfoot buzz started around this location in about 2006. That's interesting. John has been working here for about 5 years, but he's lived in the area all of his life. And the girl who was working there as well, she's, I think, been in the area all of her life. They're not believers. They've not had any sightings themselves of Bigfoot. They were very skeptical, which is fine. One of the things that was certainly interesting was that this state park, this whole area, was farmland. Apparently it wasn't very fertile soil, so it was grassland that they would graze cows and other animals on. So this growth of trees that's in this park dates back to about the 1960s, not forever. So that was kind of interesting, because of course I think it kind of, if you were looking for reasons not to believe that Bigfoot is here, that would be quite a good reason, because you're not looking at some ancient habitat that he could have been living in for thousands of years. We've been given, John gave us a map to Bigfoot Ridge.
It is recording, sorry.
We're now at Bigfoot Ridge, and this is the primitive campground. The sighting that we've come to visit is supposed to be site 3 of 4, or site 3-4 of the primitive campground. So we're in a Bigfoot site now. So this is site number 4 at the primitive campsite. And this is site number 3 of the primitive campsite. And I'm just going to go round. So you've got a picnic table, a little fire that you can cook on. There is actually a road that goes right through it here. So they were probably parked. Well, we've parked up to the left in the public parking, and I think they might be parking a bit further down to the right. So you can picture the scene. You're in your tent at night. You can hear something pulling at the grass outside. You know, you've got something pulling at the grass outside, and you go outside and you see something really tall running into the woods. It'd be really good if we could, the people who made that sighting are really keen to talk to people about it. It'd be great if they see this video, and then maybe we could talk to them on Skype and make a video. We're now really close to Hosak's cave, but before I cover that, I just want to talk about, there was one person camping at Bigfoot Ridge, and his name was River. He's a Reiki healer and a DJ, and seemed like a really spiritual person. And he's been camping at Bigfoot Ridge on his own for the last couple of nights. We had a really good chat with him, and he was just talking about what a great place it was, and I noticed it myself. Bigfoot Ridge is a really peaceful place. Very cool. So I'm going to just turn the camera around a little bit, and I'm hoping you can see there's a bridge in the distance. So I think that's probably the bridge on the main road that goes north-south through Salt Fork State Park. And if you're heading north over that bridge, just after that, there's something on the left that looks like a dry riverbed. I'm not saying it is a dry riverbed. I'm just saying it looks like a dry riverbed. And the other thing that it looks like is the source, is the site of the Patterson Gimlin. Did you just see that fish jump then? That was amazing. So I'll be getting that in slow motion. Looked like the site of the Patterson Gimlin film. I know it's not, I'm sure it's in a different state, but it looks like it. And what's interesting is that the sighting at Hosak's cave was from the main road in the vicinity of the turning for Hosak's cave. So guess what? It was really close to that, what looks like a dry riverbed and what looks like the Patterson Gimlin spot. So what we'll probably do, we might just film that spot as we drive past. So gonna head up to Hosak's cave now. I forgot to say that where we've parked at Hosak's cave, there was a cart, and that's here, and then behind the cart over here is a horse. There it is. So here we are at Hosak's cave, and there's like a waterfall running from the top of it, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'll probably zoom in on that in a minute. So yeah, the Bigfoot trail continues. This wasn't the, oh actually, I remember reading about about the sighting in the vicinity of Hosak's cave. They came back later and took some casts, footprints. I just heard voices. Did you hear voices?
Yeah, I think so. There was another car parked up there.
There was another car parked up by us, so we're not scared. I don't think it's very clear from the report where the footprint was taken. We're at the start of Morgan's Knob. We came here the other day and the camera battery was completely flat, so we weren't able to film here. So you park, you come off the road and you walk down a path, and I think we filmed me walking down the path into these woods. But when you step into this wood, you instantly get that feeling that it really feels like, you know, you sort of Boggy Creek. I think the word they use is squatchy. It feels squatchy. It looks like the kind of place that you see in Sasquatch, in Bigfoot documentaries. The trees are very densely packed together. I know I've walked in here with my sunglasses on, but when you walk in, it just gets really dark. Marie's looking at the trees because the wind's blowing through the trees. So yeah, we're gonna have a go at doing Morgan's Knob now. So thank you. Marie's patting me down trying to find water in my bag. So it's day 3. We've just walked the Morgan's Knob trail. So we're I think we're on top of Morgan's Knob now. So we've walked the trail, not the loop. I think we followed the yellow signs all the way to the end of the trail. There's a little bit of a kind of an incline at the end, but it's not steep or rocky or anything like that. It's a nice gentle walk really. We're a bit unfit, we got a bit out of breath on the steep bit at the end, but it's a really short walk. But this is somewhere, oh, see that bird soaring up there. I can't zoom in because it will go all out of focus. There was a sighting, and I think it might have been last year. I don't think it's on the BFRO, but there was a sighting at Morgan's Knob. I mean, a Bigfoot sighting. And like I said before, it's a mega squatchy area. The trees are really densely packed, and you really do feel like you're in a wilderness. Although, of course, the park ranger told us yesterday that this was planted in the 1960s. I think that's what he said. So, you know, it's like relatively new habitat, but it is within the context of a very vast area where there's a lot of forest. So it's not out of the question that if there was a cryptid out there, that it might have moved into this area. So what I really want to do with this is, you know, I'm not here to, you know, create an air of suspense or fake a sighting or, you know, do anything other than just come to a place that has a lot of Sasquatch folklore and just really enjoy the atmosphere. I just remembered, because I've just noticed there's a tree over there with the bark stripped off it. I took a photo, so I might be able to insert it here. I took a photo of a tree with the bark stripped off it, and as we were walking past that, there were a lot of strange noises, but it really just sounded like trees rubbing together. Marie said, oh, there's somebody in the woods with a power tool, but there wasn't, because as we climbed the hill there was nobody there. But I think it was just trees rubbing together. Yeah, I mean, the other thing that struck me, I've been watching videos on YouTube the last few days, and you know, really, they're all quite convincing, and the only thing that would make them not real is if somebody put a monkey suit on, a gorilla suit, and went out into the woods and pretended to be Bigfoot. But you know, one thing that really stands out for me is, while we've been here in Ohio, it's not even summer yet, and it's really, really hot. And it's just, you know, what are all these guys going out? Oh, okay, it's colder in winter, but you know, these are quite isolated places. Are these guys really going out and putting a gorilla suit on and walking through the woods and pretending to be Sasquatch? Because the thing is, if they're not, then all this footage that you see on YouTube it's real, you know, which is incredible. Beautiful place to be. I'm really glad that we came. I've just started the camera up because we're walking back on Morgan's Knob. At least we think we are. We might be a little bit long. My camera keeps stopping because of the heat. I think it's the wind, but there's like a sound of trees breaking. There's a map here, and we just took, it says trail left and right, so we just took the trail to the right, but it led down to the lake and then carried on the wrong side of the lake, so it doesn't feel like that's the one that loops back. So we thought before we'd gone too far, we'd stop and come back. So we're happy because we found the crossroads again. So here we are on the yellow route and heading back to the car. Let me just check this is in focus. My video camera keeps cutting out. I don't know if it's the heat, the humidity, I'm not sure. It keeps being stopped automatically, but we're just walking back and we came back to this place and it's just, I hope it comes across on the video, but it's so dense and so dark in there. It's you know, really a really atmospheric place. It's day 3 in Salt Fork State Park and we've had a really interesting day. I think it's unrealistic to think that we're going to come to a Bigfoot hotspot and in 3 days we're going to, see Bigfoot or even, hear howls, down by the lake at night, which is something we might try to do later. But I think, it's probably unrealistic for us to expect that when we were talking to a park ranger the other day who's been in the park for about 5 years and who has been in the area all of his life and has never seen Bigfoot. It is probably unrealistic for us to think that we would come here and in 3 days see Bigfoot. And I don't think that was ever the intention to come here and see Bigfoot. It was more of a pilgrimage. We could show this is the room that we got in the lodge. It's a huge room. Unfortunately, I only have one with 2 separate beds. But yeah, and it's a little bit of a mess at the moment. But I think it looks all right. But fantastic room. We've got a balcony out there, and today is Friday, the 18th of May, 2018. Thank you, Marie, for the camera work there. So it's Friday, the 18th of May 2018. It's our 3rd full day in Salt Fork. We've had a really interesting day. We initially went to the site of supposedly a recent Bigfoot sighting, one of the most recent. So we went to Morgan's Knob, which is a route where you go through some very dense forest, and you can loop round, but on the end of the loop there's a bit where you can just walk up to the top of a hill. And I'm hoping that if I've got all the footage in chronological order, you've already seen that, and you've seen the view from on top of the hill there at Morgan's Knob. Then we came back, we jumped in the car, and so this is where it got interesting. On the way back, we crossed over the bridge by the lake. So there's a bridge over the lake in Salt Fork State Park on the main road, the road that runs north-south through the park. We crossed the bridge, we parked up, and we went into the Stone House Nature Trail. And it was quite interesting because as soon as we went in there was the sound of lots of small animals scuttling off into the distance. There were two kind of chipmunk type things that Marie saw, and then a little bit later Marie sort of said to me, stop, look. And I thought, oh my God, what's she seen? And there was a bird's nest right next to the trail. So this almost says that yes, there's a trail there, there's a marked trail, and it's possible that people go there every day. It's also possible that over the last few months there hasn't been much activity there because this bird had built a nest at head height about that far away, and I sort of moved my camera to try and film it and it flew off. Now, I'll probably mark all this on a map, like overlay the map or something so that it's clearer where I'm talking about. But just to the north of the bridge in this area is the location of the Hosak's Cave sighting, because that sighting was from the main road at the entrance to Hosak's Cave, which is just to the north of the bridge. Just to the south of the bridge is the entrance to this nature trail. Our experience the whole time we've been here is, even though there's quite a few people at the lodge, you don't see that many people on the trails. We saw a few people at Morgan's Knob today, but you don't bump into people. So these trails, they're not really busy. And off up to the left of this trail is very dense forest, very dense vegetation to this level, and then trees, and it looks very steep. And you don't imagine that many people make it off the trail. Now, when we met River yesterday, who was a guy that we met on Bigfoot Ridge, he said to us, so this is where I'm going to get into the zone of, have you lost your mind, Toby? But he said that somebody had told him that when you hear knocking, that they'll knock once. If there's one of you, they'll knock twice. If there's two of you, and so on. So on this route today, on this whole kind of trip, we've only ever heard things that you could explain very easily as something other than Bigfoot. At one point today, there was a sound of either a woodpecker or some trees rubbing together, and Marie even said, oh, well, that's somebody with a machine. But then you realise that you're in a forest and there's nobody else there, and there isn't somebody with a machine. So you do hear strange noises. What we heard off to the left of this nature trail that we were on today was a very loud knock into a tree. And initially, I didn't even think about tree knocking. I wasn't there thinking about tree knocking. I was just like, okay, that was a very loud noise. We'd heard an animal that sounded, well, we'd heard like a squealing sound that sounded a little bit like a deer or something like that down below us. And I think I got some video of some, audio of that and some video, but obviously you can't see that. If it was an animal, you can't see that. So we heard that. So you're thinking, maybe there are sort of small to medium-sized mammals running around in this jungle. But I tell you this, something on that scale wouldn't make the sound that we heard. What it made me think of was that's a person. Same again, that feeling that you get when you're so used to being surrounded by people and you think, oh, there's somebody working up and there's somebody logging, or, you know, but there isn't really any evidence of anybody doing that kind of work. We were on a trail that it was very hard to get off, and it wasn't a tree break, it was knocking. We heard two very loud knocks, and there's two of us. The two knocks happened within about 30 seconds of each other. I've been having problems with that. I've got a 32 gig SD card and it's new, and I think it's almost full, and I'm having problems with my camera. It keeps automatically stopping video. But I mean, realistically, you know, I think I've only got about 30 or 40 minutes that I could film. We're not, you know, we weren't intending to film absolutely every moment. So we don't have the knocking on video, we don't have the audio of it. But it's been a really interesting day. We definitely heard something that was unusual, that was hard to explain. So there's a couple of things. The first one is this a Class B or a Class C? Is this a sighting? You know, for you guys who, you know, really into this stuff, should I log this with the BFRO and say that, you know, we heard knocking in that wood? Does it do more damage than good if I do that, because we're not sure what we heard, because we're not experts and we've never heard anything like this before? You know, I think I could mark pretty clearly on a map where this was, because I remember where we were on the trail, so I'm going to do that and flash it up on the screen for you. And the other thing is that I think I was given some advice to go down to the lake at night, and I think that that's the place where we should do it. There's a car park opposite. There's a recent sighting just over the other side of the bridge, and there's, you know, what you could class perhaps as our sighting, or, you know, what we heard was in, you know, was very near to that car park. So I think we might go down there tonight, park up, and see if we hear anything unusual in the woods down there. We've come out. It's 8:15 on the 18th of May, 2018. We're parked now down by the lake. There was another vehicle parked opposite the entrance to Stonehouse Nature Trail, so we've parked down at Hosak. We've switched to the GoPro now because the SLR battery is charging, and we just wanted to come out. It's Friday night, the 18th of May, about 8:15. We're down by Hosak's cave. The entrance to Hosak's cave is over there, and we were going to park by the Stonehouse Nature Trail, but there was a car already parked over there. Somebody just came and scouted down here, but I think they saw us and decided not to stay. I've tried to open Marie's window so she can hear the howls, but she's not having any of it because she never likes the window open, even when we're on a Bigfoot hunt. Okay, we're now at the Stonehouse Nature Trail? We're now at the Stonehouse Nature Trail. We just had a very interesting experience. I've got a map which I'm going to share on the YouTube video, and we were talking to reception before we left this evening, and it turns out that they've got a map of all the different, not all, but a map of lots of different sightings, and it does it by location. So A, the park office, sightings, stalkings, tracks, vocalizations. B, road number 1, sightings, 3 Bigfoot seen at one time, as seen on Finding Bigfoot. Tim Stover had an up-close sighting while bow hunting in the park. Bigfoot Ridge, sightings, stalkings, rock throwing, tracks, vocalizations, knocks. Very active location, many sightings, vocalizations, footprints and rock throwing incidents. Bigfoot have been seen hiding behind trees during the day and in the tree line at night observing campers. Seen on Monster Quest. Stonehouse. Oh gosh, that's where we are now, isn't it? Stonehouse. Sightings, stalkings, rock throwing, tracks, vocalizations, knocks. At the house. We couldn't find the house earlier. It wasn't there, was it? It's there somewhere. At the house and on the trail leading to road number 1. Morgan's Knob. Several sightings. Daytime sighting. Memorial Day weekend 2013. As seen on Monsters and Mysteries in America. While on a hike, the Eddy family's 3 children had a terrifying sighting of a Bigfoot hiding behind a tree stalking deer. Sosby investigators, SOSBI? Sosby investigators heard several wood knocks on their way to interview the family. I just thought that was really interesting that, you know, people who come looking get the wood knocks, and we came looking today and now we heard two really loud knocks. And I've walked in woods a lot over the years and I've never heard anything like that. It's interesting. And we're back near Stonehouse now, and we're somewhere down near the lake. We're in the car park, or in the parking lot, and we're just waiting to see what happens. But the reason why I started reading the map was because I wanted to read something up. We were just at the parking lot by Hosak's cave, and Marie saw something moving behind the trees. And then she read this. Hosak's cave. Numerous sightings in the cave area and around the nearby lake. Vocalizations and rock throwing. Hosak's cave is also said to be haunted. It has been said that on occasion orbs have been seen floating through the trees at night. It is very dangerous terrain around the cave, and many deaths have occurred from falls from the top of the cave. Please do not venture past the barriers provided by the park. Yeah, I mean, we've seen the cave. If you go climbing up there, that looks incredibly dangerous. In fact, just doing the walk there, I slipped at one point and nearly fell down a really steep rock slope. Okay, so Marie's got the camera now. It's day 3, evening, the 18th of May. We've returned to the site of today's knocking. We haven't actually gone up into the woods because we're not mad. So we're at the car park, parked opposite the Stonehouse, the entrance to Stonehouse. It'll be interesting to see if you can see the difference between the footage you were filming 5-10 minutes ago and now. Looking on the GoPro screen, it looks really dark, doesn't it? Actually looks pretty cool. We've just set the GoPro to default night. We don't really know if that's going to make any difference, but it's worth a try. This would just be a perfect time for Bigfoot to walk across the road, wouldn't it? Just to sort of fit in with the whole grainy footage. We've gone and brought a GoPro and you wouldn't be able to see anything. But really the reason for coming down tonight was just to see if we could catch any howls.
So I just wanted to record a quick voiceover just to kind of wrap everything up. This is the only thing that's been recorded since we got back. So everything else that you hear in the film was the sounds of the forests, and obviously the sound mostly of me talking. Nothing has been added. So and I think listening back, just really pleased with all the sounds and everything that we managed to pick up, particularly when we were on the Stonehouse Nature Trail. We got some great noises. It's a shame that we didn't get the knocking, because that was really interesting. So as you probably guessed, we didn't hear any howls on that last night, but on the drive back that you just saw in the dark there, we had a deer run in front of the car. So we actually had 3 animal incidents that we didn't quite capture on camera. We had the snake, the fish, and then we had the deer. And the camera was rolling when the deer ran in front, but it was just too dark and you don't see it. So given our luck while we were there, it almost feels like if Bigfoot was there, he would have been just out of shot. We didn't see him, but we had a good trip, and I hope you found it interesting. And if you have enjoyed this and you've got this far, please like and subscribe and ding the bell, and we'll do it all on another subject again soon. Thanks a lot.
Too many drinks made me say those words. Want too many names I chose so they hurt. Want too many truths made you walk away. Want too many lies might have made you stay. Want too many more till I realize my mistake. Want too many thoughts that you could ever be replaced. Want too many fears, 'cause the chance I had to pass. Want too many times I let a kiss become my last. Want too many weeks living still in hope. Want too many months wishing you would kissed were mine. One too many lovers in such a small space of time.